Hello. Is Adelai Brown your heart coach? Happy holidays to you. I just wanted to get on really quick. I hope that you had a great weekend. I hope that your Monday is treating you well. And I wanted to get on today just to remind you that it's okay to be honest. It is okay to be honest. This past Thanksgiving, I celebrated my first Thanksgiving without my mother. And for those of you who do know me and have been following me for the last almost 9 months, you know that I lost my mother. I'm very vocal about it. If you don't want to hear about it, you can keep scrolling. This is a part of my journey, a part of my testimony. I'm going to talk about it. And I really feel impressed to talk about it even more because so many people are dishonest about the grief that they are experiencing and going through. I know people process it in different ways, all of that, blah, 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 blah. However, there are a lot of us who are grieving and keeping it bottled up inside. You're trying to stay busy. You're trying to be there for everybody else because deep down inside, you wish that someone was there for you. You wish somebody could really understand the brevity, the gravity, the heaviness of the pain that you are feeling. And if you are that person, then I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to the people who aren't in touch with their emotions, who are in denial. Gotta just keep it moving. Ain't nobody got time for all of that. Life still going. Bills still gotta get paid. You people keep scrolling. This live is not for you. This is for the human beings who want to be human and actually express how they feel, right? So I believe that, like, we just experienced Thanksgiving. For some people, for many people, like Indigenous Americans, that holiday is a day of mourning. And when I realized that, and I said, you know what? Thanksgiving is a day of mourning for me as well. I feel that way today as well. It does not mean that it's a bad day. It does not mean that, you can't. I feel like every day that we're living is a good day to be here, regardless of what the historical meaning is for you and your culture and where you come from. But right now, I want to talk about the need for us to be honest about how we are feeling. When I got into work today, I went into the office and I was just asked, how was your Thanksgiving? And before I really even thought about it, I said good. And then immediately I felt like a pitting feeling in my stomach because it was good, but then it didn't feel good, right? But I didn't necessarily express that because good is an acceptable answer when you're out in public. People ask you how you doing, how did things go? Doing good, and half the time we're lying. Did I have a good Thanksgiving? I did. However, it was very sad. It was very heavy. I cried for most of the day. Does that mean it was a bad day? No, but it means that the grief that I have been experiencing really showed up. I was very in tune with that, and I was even more in tune with the fact that I don't want to act like I'm not grieving. I want to be able to be the human being that I am and properly grieve my mother. And I feel like it's a lot of people out there that force themselves to get better. There are a lot of people out there that you say that you're okay, you're fine, because you can feel how much other people don't have the space or don't even want to deal with the level of grief that you're dealing with right now. Remember, if you one of them people, oh, I ain't got time to be crying, I got work to do, I got bills, please keep scrolling. This is not for you. I'm talking to human beings who want to honestly express themselves. Things hurt. I lost my mother, but you could be going through a divorce. You could be starting a new job when you left someplace that you were for 4 or 5 years, and you're grieving that loss. Maybe you moved to a new city. You're grieving the loss of your familiarity. Maybe you had relationships that have been in your life for many years and they've come to an end, or they no longer, maybe it's people you were close to that you are no longer close to anymore. And there's a grief process that needs to go on there. But what I'm saying is, when you hear me talk about heart work and me being the heart coach, one of the acronyms for heart is honesty, enlightenment, authenticity, revitalization, and transformation, right? That when you hear me talk about a heart coach, this is what I'm talking about: honesty, enlightenment, authenticity, revitalization, restoration, and transformation, right? Because I believe that if we don't do hard work, we'll never experience the fullness of who we are, because we'll never be able to embrace the fullness of who we are. Because it takes a lot of courage for us to be who we've been called to be, and not who the world tells us it's acceptable for us to be. Because many people are afraid to stand out. And I realize in crying, just being willing to cry, because I cried for most of Thanksgiving. I really did. I felt the heaviness of my mama not being there. I feel it every day, but I felt it even more that day. And I even asked myself, well, what is it about this day that's different? Because really, I mean, we call it Thanksgiving. The day changes every year, right? So what is it about that day? No, Thanksgiving is a day that for many of us, we put a lot of effort into spending time with family, reminding ourselves of what we're thankful for and who we're thankful for, right? And what I realized was, on Thanksgiving, I was reminded of all the people I was thankful for, and I was also reminded of all of those that are no longer here. That and like we culturally don't do good with grief, right? I'm not saying that my life got to stop and end, even though I consider that. But I realize that when you grieve somebody, like when you love somebody, like the level that you love them, that's the level that you grieve them as well. And I feel like a lot of us are stunting our growth. I feel like a lot of us are missing out on joy and success. You know why? Because we won't properly grieve. We won't properly grieve and lament when certain, like I'm talking about losing my mama, but what about your dream that never came true? What about that goal that you said 20 years ago that you still ain't reach, and you grieve it every time you think about, I wanted to do that. I had set my plans and I set my heart to do this, and that never happened. Grief shows up in many ways. What about your relationship never reached the level that you thought it would reach? You never was loved the way you wanted to be loved. You never got treated the way you wanted to be treated. Grief shows up in many ways. What if you got a taste of it and it was snatched away from you? I'm just asking you to tell the truth. I'm just asking you to be honest about how you feeling and what you're going through in your life right now. One of the things that we do in our heart work process is we work through these 6 steps, and these 6 steps have changed my life. And after I lost my mom, when I contemplated, do I really need to be here? I keep talking about this because I feel like way more people question their existence than they're honest about. Way more people doubt how important they are. You don't really believe you that valuable. That's why you don't take your own dreams seriously, your own goals seriously. The only thing you take seriously is what society tells you is serious, what society tells you is important. What about what's in your heart? What about how you feel about life? What about, like, it's so much more than just death. Because some of you died 20 years ago. You just existing. Something hurt you so bad that you made up in your mind you never gonna open your heart again. You never gonna trust again. You made this inner vow and you've been grieving that thing for the last 20 years, and you wonder why you're not unhappy. I mean, you wonder why you're not happy. You wonder why that even when good things happen, you don't feel fulfilled. You know why that is? You gotta be honest. It's some things you need to grieve. It's some situations you need to let go. That relationship didn't work, But you got to be honest about what you told yourself about you. Because it wasn't the truth, but you believe it, and it's controlling your life. You thought your life was over. You thought you couldn't bounce back. You got to start telling the truth about how you feel. Let me tell you something. I felt like I didn't matter. I felt like my life didn't matter. I felt like my life wasn't important because that's how bad the grief was gripping me. Intellectually, I knew that wasn't true, but that's not my. See, y'all like to believe in the power of your thoughts. Let me tell you something. You need to stop thinking you so smart. You ain't even that smart. You not. And when you talk about matters of the heart, intellect is thrown out the window. All right? You got to be honest about where you are in life. God, let me tell you something. God can't heal what you won't reveal. You know, for years, I grieved the fact that me and my mom were not close. I'm talking about way before mommy died. Because many of you who know us, you remember me and my mama used to beef real hard. If anybody was around us longer than an hour, you could tell where we were not this picture perfect mother and daughter. Yeah, we had each other back, but it was very toxic. You know why? Because both of us were broken, and we did not, well, both of us were not able to, I'm going to take that back. We weren't broken, but we thought we were. Right? And so for years, I grieved and I was angry at the fact that my mother was not the mother I thought she should have been. My mother was not there for me the way I thought she should have been there for me. I had to grow up so fast. I had to mature so fast. My daddy wasn't in my life. I blamed her for everything that went wrong in my life. So for years, she and I could not get along and we bumped heads because I wanted her to be somebody she wasn't. And then she wanted me to be somebody I wasn't. But all of that was because neither one of us had the courage to be our authentic self. I hope this making sense to somebody, because Lord knows this thing in my heart so heavy, I can't even I won't go live about this, but I gotta talk about this because I know for somebody listening, this is life or death. Your blood pressure is through the roof. You don't understand why you can't get your health under control. Maybe your hair falling out. You got issues going on with your skin. These people giving you all these medications, and it's not that. It's your heart is hurting. You got to tell the truth. You ain't being honest about how you feel. You 50 years old, and that thing that happened to you when you was 5, 6, 7 years old, you can't shake it. And you don't know what to do with this because you scared to tell the truth, because you know once you tell the truth, there's all kind of stuff going to hit the fan after that. So you afraid to tell the truth. Everything about to hit the fan, but you dying on the inside. Your heart is hurting. Your heart is broken. You can't sleep at night. Your stomach is all out of whack, and you trying all these medicines, you're doing all these things, but really what you need to do is tell the truth. You need to be honest. You need to be honest about what's bothering you. You need to be honest about how afraid you are. You need to be honest about how scared you are. You need to be honest about how frustrated you are. I knew I was important, but that didn't stop how I felt. I knew I was important. That didn't stop. The grief was so real, it superseded my intellect. Some of y'all put too much pressure on your willpower. You trying too hard to make stuff happen. Tell the truth. It's not so much about you. Like, I do real estate. I do business coaching. I do different things, but it all fits into, I feel like, helping people, empowering people, encouraging people. But one of the things that I've learned, and I just had this conversation actually more than one time in the last week. I just had to tell somebody, look, you can buy the house. It's not going to change how you feel. Let me just go ahead and tell you that right now. Hey, you got everything done? All right. Well, you need a jacket. You can put your hoodie on and come on. Let's be honest about why you want to buy the house. Let's be honest about why you want to get married. Let's be honest about why you're trying to secure the bag. Many times it's not about the goal. So you make it about the goal. You make it about, I got to get this degree, or I got to get this amount of money in the bank. Why? Tell the truth. You think that once you reach this goal or get to that certain level, that there'll be some sense of security. There'll be some sense of safety. You really believe that you could be good enough, perfect enough, that you can get it right enough to change how you feel on the inside, and you cannot. That feeling is never going to go away. You could have millions in the bank or none. The insecurities that you're dealing with, they're going to be there. The doubt that you have, it's going to be there. Why? Because you're there. And until you tell the truth, it's going to stay there. I'm just going to sit in the front seat. Yeah, come on, sit in the front. So I just really want to encourage you. I hope this is helping y'all, because Lord knows I needed to talk about this. Because, today somebody said, how are you? How was your Thanksgiving? I was like, good. Put your seatbelt on. And then I was like, that's not the truth.
Did you like your Thanksgiving?
I did. It was actually good, but I'm redefining how I define good. I used to think good means, well, I'm not crying. Well, that's not true.
Good means you're feeling like happy.
Good don't always mean happy. That's what I had to realize. Thank you, Christopher. Good does not always mean happy. I realized I was good because I was loved. I was around people who loved me, who cared about me, people who just let me be myself without any stipulations. I didn't have to figure it out. I didn't have to get it right. I didn't have to have it all together. All I needed to do was show up. And the state that my heart was in, what I was going through, I didn't need the pressure of doing all the rest of that stuff. See, sometimes we feel a certain way about ourselves, and then it's like you're very critical of yourself. Your self-talk is very harsh, but then you get upset when other people talk to you all kind of ways. When other people are critical of you. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. So if you don't want people to be so critical of you, maybe you shouldn't be so critical of yourself. And look at your life and look around you. Are you being critical of those around you? You gotta be before you do and have. So it's just like a lot of people think, well, once I buy this house or once I get this dollar amount in the bank, I'm gonna feel better. Let me tell you something. Ain't nothing I could possess in this world right now to take away the pain that I feel with my mom and not being here. I ain't stupid enough to believe that. Now, would extra millions in the bank and all that stuff feel good? Absolutely. Will it take away the pain? Absolutely not. Because my heart and my love can't be bought. I'm worth way more than any form of currency. And so are you.